Hello and welcome to the DweltOggy Show. The first half of this year has been crazy for good video games. It's like the beginning of the year has transformed into November. It's packed with that many good video games. Halo Wars 2, Persona 5, Ghost Recon, For Honor, Nier Automata, Sexy Brutale, Snipperclips, the list goes on. But in the onslaught on our wallet and free time, 3 games stood out in the way they handled exploration and freedom. Those games are, as you probably already guessed by reading the title of this very video, Mass Effect Andromeda, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. A core element of each of these is exploration and freedom, and how each handles the concept in a sometimes subtly different way. I thought it would be fun to explore the way each does this and come to a conclusion on which I like better. Because everything on the internet has to be a battle. So, without further ado, shall we talk about exploration and freedom in video games? Okay, let's talk about Mass Effect Andromeda first. The game sets you up as a pathfinder, with exploration a core tenet of your job. The game gives you a variety of planets to explore, with various hazards to contend with as well. Pushing forward in the environment provides you with locations with which to deploy forward stations, which reveal the map and resources to mine. And that's pretty much it. There isn't really a reward for exploring these planets. Unlike most modern games, discovering forward stations doesn't really reveal much fun to do on the map, but serve primarily as fast travel stations. All quests and objectives are mapped onto the map whether you've gotten far enough to see that part of the map, so the exploration element of the game is really only there to reveal mining nodes. And oh boy, does nothing fill me with more joy than mining nodes. I love mining nodes. On a side note, who thought it was the best idea to put all the mining scanning from Mass Effect 2 behind another layer of loading screens and then hours of planetary driving to get to them? Ugh, fire that idiot. That said, the idea of discovering planets in this way isn't a bad idea, but there also has to be something of interest to find, to feed the sense of discovery. Also, by mapping out the forward station locations and mining zones and quests and telling the player exactly where they are, removes any satisfaction in finding these places. It makes it more a list of chores to be completed. The planets also don't have or serve as memorable locations. Well, not for the right reasons. I'm looking at you, Kadara. Ultimately, the way this game handles exploration isn't really fun or engaging, but more busy work to keep the player doing meaningless tasks. It's exploration for exploration's sake. From a story perspective, being a Pathfinder lends a good reason to the exploration, but I miss the old Mass Effect galaxy maps and the linear missions. Mass Effect Andromeda feels like they had a good idea for planet exploration that didn't necessarily jive with Mass Effect's systems, but then they kind of mashed the two together and the hybrid never felt right. Also, by the year 2810, I would hope they would have better vehicles to deal with hills and steep inclines than this garbage car. Actually, why aren't we flying everywhere in shuttles? Seems way more efficient and time-saving than driving over the surface of this damn moon. Next on the chopping block is Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon feels like a mishmash of every open-world game of the last 10 years to me, and that extends to the way in which it deals with exploration and discovery. In that regard, it very firmly falls into the Far Cry school of thought. The map is greyed out by default, and the only detail marked on the map is the location of the robot giraffes known as longnecks. Read radio towers. When you get there, you have to climb to the top and activate the longneck, and the surrounding map will be revealed. This comes along with animal locations and activities completed in the area. Each long neck will have a different challenge associated with climbing it. Once revealed, the player only needs to go to each marker and complete the associated activity. The act of exploration is really in finding and completing the long necks, and finding campfires, but that's not really exploration, and that's more just for the fast travel system. While the campfires are more Dark Souls, the whole long neck system might as well have been lifted 100% from Assassin's Creed 2, and it has been pretty much perfected by every Ubisoft game since. There are the obvious addition of the long necks moving, but in essence the whole thing is the same. The main advantage here is that the process of working out the puzzle of a long neck is almost always engaging. However, after that, the tower, read long neck, has been climbed and the map becomes a list of chores to complete. Well, fun chores, so not really chores. Ah, you know what I mean. It's a checklist of activities to do that aren't necessarily discoveries because you know exactly where they are. Everything is laid out for you, and the act of finding these activities isn't the fun part of the game. At least when compared to Mass Effect, there are at least fun activities to do, and the world interesting enough to traverse, and full of interesting enemies to fight and hunt. The Far Cry method at this point is old hat. This sort of system has been used since Assassin's Creed 2, and perfected by literally every Ubisoft release since. Horizon, to its credit, pulls it off perfectly. They even add elements to it to make it more fun and visually interesting than that of other games in the genre. This isn't even necessarily a knock against the game. I really like it, and moreover, I really like the Far Cry method of exploration, and I had fun with it in countless other games, but I guess that's the point. While pulled off perfectly with some extra spice to keep it going, there was nothing here that really caught my eye or attention. But another game has shown me the light when it comes to exploration, and it's not necessarily that revolutionary. However, before we get to that, may I just complain about the fucking idea of having to craft fast travel kits in this game? Who thought that was a good idea? All I want to do is go back to the bloody city and buy some arrows, but instead I have to hunt down 3 rabbits, get some bony meat and some fatty... Why does it need bony and fatty meat anyway? How does that help me travel? Just let me fucking fast travel to a point I've already discovered on the map, god damn you. On the surface, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild handles exploration the same manner as Horizon Zero Dawn. You explore the map in search of towers to climb, and in turn, those will reveal the map. However, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild does something markedly different. There are no map markers added for climbing after climbing the tower. Simply the topography of the map is revealed with no further details filled in. The location of towers aren't even given beforehand. Instead, players are encouraged to search for shrines and other features by looking from a high vantage point, and are encouraged to explore for these and other collectibles. Discoveries feel like the players as they explore the world that hasn't been mapped for them, and that's really the magic of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This game is built around exploring the world. The simple removal of clutter from the map allows every discovery to be your own. Sure, most of the discoveries are shrines, but it is a way more fulfilling experience than the clutter other games offer. The game also has a much more free progression to the story, allowing the content to be explored in any order. The name of the game is freedom. Well, it's not, it's not the name of the... You get the point. You could even go straight up to the end of the game from the moment they release you from the admittedly lengthy tutorial. This is a game with freedom and exploration built in from the ground up. The point of the game is to find the next shrine and the journey and discoveries you make in between. Ultimately, the system behind Breath of the Wild is firmly that of a Western game like Far Cry. However, instead of overfilling the map with the clutter that so often comes along with games like Far Cry and Horizon, the game leaves the player to find the interesting stuff themselves. Ultimately, this all comes down to the game removing a feature rather than adding one. The removal of map clutter encourages player exploration and makes every discovery your own. Mass Effect and Horizon aren't games about discovery or exploration. Both games are about the destination, and the act of discovering or exploring isn't necessarily the fun part. In Mass Effect's case, not fun at all. The fun is the content, not the discovery. Destination, not journey. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is all about the discovery and the journey to those. That's not to say that the shrines and activities aren't fun, but the game shows a distinct difference in how the games handle exploration. I went into this expected to say that Breath of the Wild was a clear winner in my mind, in the exploration department at any rate, and tear down the other games. But, in doing this video I came to the conclusion I actually like both. Not equally, but I do like both. Ultimately, I think that The Legend of Zelda has changed the way I think open world games should go in the future, and that is to lean into the open world nature of them, and allow for greater freedom in exploration and discovery. And for that, I think it has an edge. It breeds a love of discovery and exploration, which I'm not sure I've had in an open world game before. That said, the Far Cry philosophy is a tried and true system that I have lots of fun doing. Horizon offers lots of fun, but it's not necessarily the discovery and exploration that keeps me going, unlike in Legend of Zelda. I don't think Mass Effect Andromeda has a bad idea for exploration and discovery, but I think it's fairly poorly developed and implemented in the game. But exploration has never really been Mass Effect's strong suit, and the mechanic is ripe for expansion in the future. In the end, the games discussed here I actually love. The series tends to err on the side of negativity a lot, and in a way that's a wee bit disingenuous here. I love both Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn. I even actually really like Mass Effect Andromeda as well, despite its many, numerous flaws. Ultimately, we're all here to have fun, and this year has been packed with amazing gaming experiences for everyone, no matter the type of game you enjoy to play. I don't remember a year beginning like 2017 has, and I'm loving most of the games I've played. But hey, I've said negatives about beloved games on the internet, and if anyone cares enough to watch this, I'm sure that I've angered someone along the line. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the DweltOggy Show. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We might go through a rebrand in the meantime, but we'll still be back in 2 weeks on the same time and channel. So, for now, have some Mass Effect Andromeda glitches to outro us, because by God, I've got a lot of those.
Bolstering all shields! Gravity goes away in 3, 2.
Target's down.
Giving shield assist!